Hey guys, well, the Raw after SummerSlam is in the books, and seems like WWE hit the soft reset on Monday night. So we are going to break it all down and talk about it. So, with that, welcome to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Mike, joined by Mr. Real Deal. And Real Deal, how are we feeling about this? Let's call it a soft reset on Monday nights on Monday Netflix Raw.
So as we prepare to move into the fall season, so the first half of Riyadh season of this year, I think that it's not a bad start. I mean, they did a little bit of new stuff. We had some returning folks and some interesting potential feuds set up. The big one, obviously, is I'm very excited to get some Los Alamos Night doing some big things, hopefully, and some other potential feuds that I'm curious to see how they could go. But I'm willing to give it a shot. I don't think it was the most eventful episode for being a post PLE one, especially for how big of a PLE it was. But it by no means was a terrible episode of Netflix Night Raw.
Yeah. So let's get into the show. We'll talk about the main points of the show. We'll kind of go over all the specifics because the show had quite a bit of stuff happen on it, a lot of newsworthy stuff. So Roman Reigns opened the show to bask in his successful World Heavyweight Title Championship match win against Seth Rollins. It was quickly cut off by an entrance of one Southern California Knight. Knight called for a match with Roman Reigns, and the idea Roman Reigns kind of was very pissed off about it, and was not okay with it. Knight kind of came back and forth with him and was like, "Well, you spent all your time at the top avoiding guys like me, and then every time you had to have a match with me." He remembered that WWE had a history and used the bloodline to kind of fend him off and said Roman needs to, quote, grow a pair, which I kind of liked. And he was willing to step into the ring with him at any point in time. And Reigns was, giving him a little bit of grief for, beating his cousins and Jacob at the SummerSlam matchup. And then, kind of just went a little bit back and forth, with him. And then ultimately, when he was backstage a bit later, he told Usos and Jacob Fatu to leave LA Knight to him. And I did think it was kind of interesting that right after that, LA Knight walked by the Usos and Jacob Fatu and was like, "Oh, what are you going to do? You can't touch me because your boss said so." And I thought the whole thing was kind of amusing. So, yeah, it was a very interesting opening segment. And I love that Knight is going to be a challenger to Roman Reigns kind of like right off the bat here, which is what I think what should have happened after getting that big win at SummerSlam. I think he's going to win? No, but it is certainly interesting, and I think that I also saw, obviously, just to note as well, Roman Reigns will likely be defending the title against the winner of some kind of tournament for the AAA show as well.
Oh, is that what the
Uh,
tease at the end was?
yeah, so there's going to be some kind of tournament at the AAA show, and Roman Reigns will likely show up there and then defend the title at a later episode of Raw against that person.
That's kind of cool. I thought that was interesting that they did that little tease at the end there. I was curious where they were going to go with that.
Yeah,
But I part of me is hoping that this feud with Knight isn't just like a 1 month one-off thing. I would like to see a couple matches out of it potentially. And honestly, I could get behind maybe Solo Sikoa interfering and costing Roman, but I don't know.
the big if.
It'll be fun. I think that the promo battles will be great. Just like you said, that part backstage when Knight came walking by and was taunting the three of the Bloodline members was absolutely fantastic. And anytime WWE acknowledges their history and their really really long term storytelling, I'm a fan when they go back to that. So I
Mhm.
am all about the fact that they want to talk shit about how Roman used the bloodline to get ahead the entire time.
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
did,
go ahead.
real quick though, I did hear something interesting about, and I don't know how true it is, but I heard that Roman and The Rock aren't really on good terms and haven't been for a little while now.
Where this come from?
And it just some people online talking about it. I don't know, like I said, I don't know how true it is, but then they were talking about that apparently the Sons of Haku thing on SmackDown was something that The Rock wanted done, and these guys were talking about potentially a Rock bloodline versus a Roman bloodline as your War Games match.
Hmm.
Like I said, I don't know how true it was, but I thought it was an interesting little segment that I saw a couple of people talking about, and was curious what your thoughts on something like that would be.
I mean, I don't like Dwayne at all, so
Yeah.
I struggle with it a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, do you really want to see more Dwayne? I mean,
If we had Dwayne in more of a manager role and not actually competing, I think I'd rather see that than to see him get in the ring if I had to do one or the other.
yeah, I don't want to see Dwayne in the ring
No.
anymore. I don't
Nope.
think so. But I don't know. I still am of the mind. I don't think we're going to see him anytime soon. I just he's had so many opportunities to come back at this point, and I think it's just going to be a thing. We're going to wait until Riyadh Mania a little bit later, and that's probably going to be the match that they do at Riyadh Mania. I think it just makes too much sense right now.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at right now. My mind could change, but I think that's where I'm at right now. Um, we also obviously had a little bit of a note as well, keeping in the line with the bloodline here. The main event saw Jacob Fatu and Royce Keys in a no disqualification match, and this was violent. And
Yes.
these two guys, just tore each other apart in this match. And the match ended when Jacob put Roman in the tongue and death grip until Royce Keys passed out. And then after the match, he, held the lock in again. And I think Royce Keys busted a like a blood capsule in his mouth because it looked like the blood was kind of like coming out of his mouth. Then he slammed him into the corner, put a chair around his neck, and did one of those running things where they like what's that move called, the running
The hip
like
attack.
over and they smash into the dude's neck. There's a name for that move. I can't recall what the name of the move is. But he did that to him and look, to signify like, injuring him. Something tells me they're going to be writing Keys off of TV for probably a little while. And then what was interesting about that after it was all over was Roman's music hit. He came to the top of the entrance and kind of did, the finger to the sky pose. Like he was proud of what Jacob did after this match.
Yeah, so he took him out with a running hip attack was what he
Mm-hmm.
did there, and I think it's a good thing to write Keys off for a month or so because then you can have him come back to continue this feud with Jacob, and
Mm-hmm.
it lets them have a little bit of time to figure out exactly the story they want to tell here. And my God, you want to talk? You said a violent match that barely covers it. It was ridiculously violent, and I think both guys did a hell of a job. I mean, the strength of Royce Keys as he put Jacob through like the barrier was fantastic, and just the athleticism of Jacob. I think that the sooner we can get past all of this bloodline stuff and have Jacob win a major title, the happier I'll be.
I think this also helps twofold. One, we saw a couple of soft resets on some characters, and this was a soft reset on Jacob Fatu, I think, as well, because like it really got him back to kind of being a little bit of a killer, which he needs to be, and also really showed that he's a force to be reckoned with in the ring. And I think for a long time we just really weren't doing much with Jacob Fatu, and I don't think that SummerSlam match really did Jacob any favors because I don't really think he was highlighted very much in that SummerSlam match. He was the main event of Raw this week, and I think he did a hell of a job kind of bringing back the violent aspect of his character.
Yes, and that's one of the things that they desperately needed with Jacob because I hate to say it, but I think and it wasn't just the SummerSlam match that did it, but I think it was the two matches against Roman that did it. It sort of cooled off his hot streak and sort of took away from the aura that he had going on.
Yeah. Speaking of additional things that happened on this show, we had a match between Javon Evans and Ethan Page, which saw Javon Evans win after hitting the OG cutter. After the match, we had the official return of Big Cass to the WWE, hitting Evans with the big boot and then the East River crossings. Later in the show, Cass said it was nothing personal. Evans was just in the way, and that Evans, quote, won't be the last body that he stacks. So, what do you think of that? What do you think of Big Cass being back? I mean, do you think it's going to be a feud with Evans, or do you think he's just going to kind of just start going through people a little bit? And where do you think this whole run is going to be for him for a while? Do you think we follow the kind of the Baron Corbin path with him a little bit?
I think it's going to be a little bit of both. I think that he's going to have like a thing with Evans going on because there's no way Evans doesn't respond, especially with them trying to add a little bit of edge to his character. But the other thing too is I want him to go through and start taking people out. Dragon Lee, take him out. I don't Rey Mysterio, take him out. I don't care. Give me some people just to run through and put the Intercontinental title on him at some point. I think that that is a good choice, and I really like when WWE uses real life as part of their stories. And Big Cass or Big Bill, depending on where you are, is definitely has a backstory that can be used between
Yeah.
him almost dying and how high everybody was on him and getting himself fired for beating up a little person. I mean, somehow JD McDonagh didn't get fired for beating up a little person, but I think that you have a deep well that you can dip into to tell this story. And I want him to just go through and run through people. Like as much as I want Javon Evans to be on a hot streak, I want Big Cass to win dominantly.
Yeah. I think I'm completely with you. And I gotta say, dude looks like $1 million right now.
Yep.
Like he really, really looks good. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him. And I'm curious to know what our audience thinks about that. Like, what do you guys think that they're gonna do with Big Cass? Like, I mean, what kind of run do you want this guy to have? I don't foresee him being in the world title picture, but I'm kind of curious. I would imagine he'll probably hover around the mid card, but I'm curious to know what our audience thinks about that.
I don't know that he is a high enough caliber to be in the main event. I mean, maybe a match here or there, but he's never going to win one of the main titles.
I think the main event's too crowded right now.
It is. I mean, at some point down the road, though, I could see him. I mean, like, even Cesaro got
Got a
a
shot.
title match. So,
Yeah,
like, I could see him getting a title match at some point. I mean,
yeah.
hell, Ricochet got one against Brock Lesnar, of all people, when he wore his girlfriend's hot pants.
I mean, it would be at some point in time down the road, I'd love to see him have a 20-minute match with Oba Femi.
Yeah.
That would be
Or a
fun.
match with Bron Breakker.
Yeah, that would be fun. Speaking of Bron Breakker, another character who got a little bit of a soft reset on this show, which I kind of liked as well. We had a segment with Oba Femi where Oba came out. Oba surprisingly thanked Paul Heyman backstage and told Heyman to thank Brock Lesnar when he sees him. Femi then went to the ring to cut a short promo stating that his business is not done simply because he beat Lesnar and basically told all comers to come at him, bro. And I thought his outfit was interesting. He definitely had the priest outfit thing going on here, which was a little interesting. But what was more interesting about this segment was as Femi was making his exit, the Vision made their entrance, and it led to a pretty epic stare down between Oba Femi and Bron Breakker, which was excellent. And also kind of a tease of Paul Heyman potentially working with Oba Femi and leaving the Vision.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that was about, but I could get behind that. I think that that stare down was, it said so much without even saying a word. And then the interaction between Paul and Braun backstage was very tense. I don't quite understand what they were going for with Obo being dressed like the world's largest choir boy. Um, Beyond that, big fan. I think the thank you for Brock, and then obviously Lesnar coming out afterwards and officially announcing that he was retired. I don't know if he was purposely waiting for Oba to come out and talk before he did that, but very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. The whole thing was good, and obviously they saw Braun Breaker defeat Joe Hendry by a pinfall. This is a vicious match. I mean, like Joe Hendry had no chance here. I don't like that. Like Tozawa ran in to make the save afterwards, and was still kind of running a program with him versus the Vision. I think the sooner Bron Breakker can get away from the Vision at this point, probably the better. The Vision is very solidly a mid-card act at this point, and I think Bron Breakker, if he wants to be a main eventer, needs to get away from them.
I don't think he needs to be with them anymore. Like, I think you get Logan Paul or Bronson Reed back, because Logan Paul was walking around Fanatics Fest without his arm thing on. So I don't know how close he is to coming back, but you get them back, and I think that you can then start to work on moving Braun to being a single star again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you wanted to blow your entire budget on this show. So I can understand why Bronson Reed didn't come back on this show, but he needs to come back
Yes.
very, very soon. Like if he's ready, we got to get him back on TV.
Especially because from everything I've heard, not only is he ready, but he looks fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get him back. So I guess we'll kind of wait and see where that happens. But yeah, again, teasing another future match down the road between Oba Femi and Bron Breakker is a lot of fun.
Yep.
I mean, that program right there, if you book things right, could be your WrestleMania 50 main event.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know how you exactly tell that story, but the match itself, sign me up for it.
Yeah. Next, we saw Sol Ruca defeat Roxanne Perez by disqualification after interference by Liv Morgan and the rest of the Judgment Day. After Raquel interfered, Morgan did the same thing, was caught by the referee. After the bell, Raquel hit Ruca with the big boot and the Tejana bomb. This had the return of Becky Lynch, saw her return. The music hit, and she made her way to the ring, pointed to Rodriguez's women's Intercontinental title belt, and said she didn't come for that belt because she already made it famous. She then turned to Morgan and said she was coming for her women's world championship, and they talked a little bit of smack, and then the Judgment Day left the ring as they were cut off by a returning Stephanie Vaquer, who chased them off after they fled. Vaquer and Lynch made their way into the ring and kind of stared each other down a little bit. So this is all sorts of good stuff. Two returns in the women's division on this show. I think this helps the women's division on Raw immensely. One of these women needs to beat Liv, and then this needs to be your next big women's program is Stephanie and Liv, or Stephanie and Lynch.
So, do we think Becky is still a heel?
Yeah, that was pretty heely.
I do love the way she incorporated her, and it's not just me, into making fun of Liv. But first of all, it's about damn time that we got Stephanie Vaquer back.
Yeah.
It's been way too long since she lost the title at Mania. She needs to come out, and honestly, if anything, I think I have Becky beat Liv, and then Stephanie beat Becky. I think that is the best way of going about that story. And watching, I mean, I think we're going to see Stephanie face Liv first, though, with the way that we were seeing her put boot to ass there. And I'm curious if she puts together some sort of little group with Sol Ruca and someone else, so that way they can fend off the Judgment Day. Because otherwise, it's going to be the same thing every week again, where the Judgment Day numbers are going to get the better of everyone.
Yeah, we will definitely see some kind of, I bet actually, to be completely honest with you, I bet we see some kind of 3-on-3 with these three women versus the Judgment Day.
Wouldn't surprise me. I think that it makes the most sense because, like I said, the fact that otherwise we'll just still be continuing to tell the exact same story with the numbers.
And then this one absolutely has it screams a can they coexist match.
Yeah, 100%. Just like they sort of did with Charlotte and Alexa.
Yeah, exactly.
Real quick before we move, while we're talking about the women's division, before we move on, congratulations to Bianca and Montez. They had their baby.
Yes.
So congrats to them on that.
Yes, definitely. And actually, we only have one more match to talk about. We had a quick celebration of the new Intercontinental Champion, Chad Gable, which led to a match between him and Penta versus the men's Judgment Day, which was interesting that the men and the women of the Judgment Day were separate on this show for whatever reason. But this was a relatively short match, and obviously the faces were going to win here. So, no surprise there. Relatively short match, and curious to see what we're going to do with Master Gable going forward.
Yeah, I'm not sure who his first actual feud is going to be. I mean, we might see Penta get a rematch with the way that they've been doing the whole show and respect for each other and all that. I think it's going to hinge on what happens with Dirty Dominik Mysterious and that AAA title.
Yep.
Because if he drops that AAA title, I could see him having a month or so program with Master Gable. But I think there's plenty of challengers for Chad, and my hope is that they just allow him to go out there and just make that title look great, because the guy is such a incredible wrestler that you can put him in the ring with almost anybody and he'll show up great.
Yeah. I also saw at one point in time too, during that one backstage segment, that your girl who lives down in a van by the river was talking to Adam Pearce.
Yep.
For a
And back.
relatively long time too. So I wonder if we're gonna see her involved in the women's IC title program as well.
Either that or Money at the Bank, because
Yeah.
I have to imagine within the next couple weeks they'll probably start the qualifiers.
It's not until October.
Right. So probably end of this month, beginning of September, we'll start to see the qualifiers.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because there's what, 6 people in the Money at the Bank match, so that's
Yeah.
you have
12 qualifiers. Yeah.
3 weeks.
I mean, you've got 6 weeks here, so you could do one match pretty much every week at this point for the men and for the women.
Yeah.
I mean, or you start in a couple weeks and then you do one on Raw, one on SmackDown, for like 3 weeks in a row.
Exactly, and that way you get that build up. I mean, do we have anything before Money in the Bank? Do we have a Saturday night's main event?
Oh.
There's nothing in September?
Other than the AAA show, no. I
Because
think that's why Roman's going to be on the AAA show.
originally Money in the Bank was supposed to be September, right? And then they moved it to October.
It's like October 10th or something like that.
I wonder why they're taking the month off. That seems weird to me.
Like, give these guys a break.
Oh, 100%. I think my bigger point is I'm surprised we're not getting a pointless Saturday night main event.
There's going to be something. I think there's an NXT show, or maybe it's this AAA show that happens to be the same night as AEW's Stadium show.
As the Wembley show?
Yeah.
I think it's NXT, because I think the Stadium show for WCW is, I think, the last weekend. So it's because it's usually my birthday weekend, so it's going to be at the end of the month. And then NXT, I think, will have something, because I know they were setting up. I don't know who won, but they were setting up a Mike Santana Grayson Waller #1 contenders match for Tony D. So
yeah,
I
they'll
think
probably stack that show with some stuff, I would imagine, just to
you'll probably see a bunch of superstars from the main roster show up.
Not compete with WCW.
Yeah.
So that was Monday Night Raw, and it was a really newsworthy show. So what is your final rating for the show?
I give it a B. I don't think it was, like I said at the beginning of the show, I don't think it was the best post PLE show I've ever seen, but it was fun. The wrestling was fun. The story stuff they did, the fact that we got, like you said, the soft reboot, which is some of what they needed. Hopefully they can carry this over onto Friday night, and maybe we can see them start fixing the issues that is Friday Night SmackDown. But I think there's to start off after SummerSlam with a win. It's always great to start your fall season of Riyadh season off right.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it was cool to see Big Cass back. It was cool to see Stephanie and Becky back. I like the soft reset on Jacob Fatu and Bron Breakker. I'm curious to see where they're going to go with Master Gable, and I love that Southern California Night is at least going to get a shot at the title. So, good things to come. A lot of good stuff came out of the show. I really wouldn't have hated Oba Femi getting in Roman Reigns' space at one point in time, but I suppose we can save that for a little bit longer. So I think with that, my final rating for the show is a soft reset out of 5. So that is our show, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Were you surprised that Big Cass came back and how he looked? Are you happy about Roman Reigns and LA Knight? And what do you think about the women's division? Let us know in the comments down below. And with that, I have been Mike, joined by Mr. Real Deal. Have yourselves a fantastic evening. Thank you so much, and take care.